Luke, give me your Apple password. Yes, your thoughts betray you, especially for Jennifer. So, you have naked pictures of Jennifer Lawrence. Your failure as a human being is now complete. Obi-Wan was wise to hide it from me. Maybe your sister has your password. If you will not give me the fappening photos, then perhaps she will.
Get ready for another From the Back of the Tank exclusive.
I like the sound of that.
All right, we're here and we're back for another From the Bacta Tank update. Star Wars From the Bacta Tank update. Let's see, we got a lot to get through. I know we're going to save a lot of it for the full show we'll be doing in about a week or so, but it's just too much to skip. We're probably going to be making sure we do these at least a week, every week now, just because there's just so much information coming out. Man, I can't even keep up with it. In fact, I gave up on the Star Wars HQ.
Dude, it's going at light speed now.
Yeah, Star Wars HQ is closed down. Until I can get someone to do the post, like I might as well just run my regular website, RaymanWasHere.com, and post Star Wars news on there, rather than having a separate site. It's just too much. And I was literally spending, 6-7 hours a day just on the Star Wars site. I'm like, I can't do it. I'd rather do a show and then keep my regular site going.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, everything's going really fast now, man. I mean, ever since that Rebels came out, that Rebels premiered, all of a sudden you get news at least once or twice a day now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's getting insane.
Even more if you can, because I have Google alerts sent to me every time Star Wars is mentioned on the internet. And I get like 25 emails probably every 10 minutes because someone mentioned Star Wars or someone posted a Star Wars blog. And I sort through them to find the relevant ones that are not just people like BSing. It's like an actual blog post. It's just so much. I mean, there's Star Wars toys updates. There's Star Wars, video game updates. There's Star Wars apps that just came out. So there's just so much to sort through. And I really wish I had the time to post everything on everything. I'm talking apps, video games, toys. It would be cool to have a place where you can just go one place. And eventually I will. I just can't do it right now.
And just think, like next year, all the news is going to be coming out more.
Yeah.
Because we're getting closer and closer to D-Day or Star Wars
Is that
Day.
what people are calling it, D-Day?
Pretty much.
That thing's operational.
The first Star Wars update that we have is a Star Wars 7 rumor. Ewan McGregor is returning as Obi-Wan. McGregor also wants a spin-off film. Somewhere out there in the universe, a force is growing under a veil of secrecy. According to ScreenRant.com, not just any force, but the Force. We're now 2 years away from the 2015 release of J.J. Abrams. Is it really 2 years away still?
2 years away, man.
That's too long. Star Wars Episode 7, and we still know little to nothing solid about what Disney has planned for its big relaunch of Star Wars. I'm kind of over the whole what Disney has. Lucasfilm is still in charge.
Yes.
Many of the same people. But it's funny because Disney's such a big name, it's almost overshadowing anybody else's involvement.
Beware the mouse, man. Beware the mouse.
Yeah. So, other than the fact that some familiar faces will be returning to the franchise, obviously Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. In recent days, Latino Review, which is like the king of all rumors over there. I don't even understand how they come up with half their information. has been dropping some big rumors about Episode 7. First came word that Emperor Palpatine will be returning.
Yes.
If only as a Sith equivalent of a Force ghost. And now the website claims to have knowledge that Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi could also be coming back as a ghostly guide. So would you be okay with seeing him return as a ghostly figure?
At this point,
a Force ghost?
At this point, okay. I mean, I think that's what they tried to do with, Hayden Christensen when they did the whole change of Return of the Jedi. And understandably, Ewan McGregor didn't want to actually be part of that. But nowadays, I think it might be a good thing. I mean, we can't simply have the old Obi-Wan.
Well, you can't. There's no way, unless they find a way to CGI his entire, mouth. And
exactly.
Which would be kind of cheesy.
It'd be cheesy. I know that the technology's there. I mean, we see it nowadays. I mean, you saw it with all the concerts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, this is probably the best we can get.
Yeah.
At this point, as fans,
I like Ewan McGregor. I've always liked Ewan McGregor as a actor and as Obi-Wan Kenobi. It'll be nice to see him work under the direction of somebody else. And I'm being serious. Like, I love George Lucas, but as we always say, he is a great story man, fantastic, but as a director, he is not a good director.
Yeah.
I mean, he said it himself. He doesn't like people. And if you don't like people, how are you supposed to direct people?
And dude, you do realize that basically Ewan McGregor said he never wanted anything to do with Star Wars after he dealt with George Lucas.
Yeah.
And now that George Lucas is gone, suddenly Ewan McGregor wants to.
Well, look at Liam Neeson coming back for Clone Wars.
Yeah.
He said the same thing. He didn't like George Lucas. He didn't want to work with him again.
No one wanted to work with him. Now that, I guess, I hate to call George Lucas a cancer on Star Wars, but toward the end, he was really a detriment to Star Wars because...
I agree. I totally agree.
A lot of people didn't want to deal with him.
This is the best move. Whether you like Disney or not, this is the best move George Lucasfilm could have done to breathe new life into Star Wars was for him to take a backseat and hand it off to other creators.
Yeah, just to take himself out of the equation.
Yeah.
And now we get like... I'm really excited about the spin-offs because they're going to be done by Gareth Edwards.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming a big Gareth Edwards fan.
Yeah. So though Obi-Wan's ghost already played a role in the original trilogy, which again, it's nothing new. We've seen it, and I think we can all get over the fact that Sir Alec Guinness is dead. He's been dead for many years. I don't think this is an insult to doing it. Ewan McGregor is a fine actor, and I think it would make a lot of sense for him to come back as a ghost. I would be fine with that, 100% okay with that. However, I guess there's rumors segueing over to the next bit of information, and I guess there's rumors saying that he also wants to do a spinoff as well. He doesn't want to just come back for... Again, guys, this is rumors, but according to some of the gossip and the talk and the word in the streets, is that yes, Ewan McGregor will come back for Episode 7, but in doing so, I think he's going to try to ink a deal where he can do another movie just on Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And I'm actually excited about that because you still have a lot of stories that you could cover what happened to Obi-Wan after Revenge of the Sith and up to New Hope.
Well, and that's going with what you just said. A lot of people, this article we have here from the Inquisitor.com, which is convenient, says that they could this be a possible misstep, going back and doing another prequel type show, taking us to a time in the Star Wars universe that none of us were familiar with, and they're attributing that to the reason why a lot of people didn't like the prequels, which has nothing to do, in my opinion, with a universe we're unfamiliar with. It has to do with the fact that the stories weren't written or directed as well as the original. That's the problem. Bottom line, it has nothing to do with the universe we were thrown in or the time frame.
And plus, you got to also throw in, if that's the case, then why was Clone Wars so successful?
Right, exactly. So they're saying that, says, we had previously heard that Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff was being considered by Disney, Lucasfilm, as the franchise moves forward. The talk now is that a new trilogy based on the character of the Jedi Master is currently in development. According to Sendlinks, Lucasfilm is developing a trilogy based on the legendary character of the originals. This is a little bit different from the rumor that surfaced over a year and a half ago when the Star Wars spinoffs were officially announced. It says At the time, it says, first up, they're not talking about an Obi-Wan spin-off movie, but a trilogy of Obi-Wan movies. This is a quote. I need to stress that these movies are not connected. They aren't part of a story arc, but 3 separate Obi-Wan adventures set between episode 3 and episode 4.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and you know what? They don't even need... I mean, there is so much in mystery between episodes 3 and 4, particularly with Obi-Wan, and this actually can fit some... This can actually fix some plot holes that Lucas has left open that we always complained about. Hey, look at Qui-Gon Jinn has learned to communicate from the dead. You need more training.
You need more training.
So, I mean, and that's how they kind of ended that. So it would be nice to see Obi-Wan continue his training. And we don't know. Yes, he went into hiding, but what type of trouble did he encounter as he was going into hiding, as he was trying to change his life and transition from a hardcore Jedi Knight to somebody who could no longer wield the Force openly?
Yeah, to a person who basically became a crazy hermit.
Yeah, well, people called him that. Considered him some crazy old man. So it's going to be interesting. It would be interesting to see. I mean, even his life on Tatooine, what type of shit did he go through down there? With the monsters and the creatures down there.
Well, there's so much.
I mean, much.
Not just that. Also, like his connection with. You could tell that from episode 3 and episode 4, there's a connection between him and a lot of the other Star Wars characters that no one knows about, like Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Right.
Like, for some strange reason, Uncle Owen knows about Obi-Wan. He doesn't tell Luke anything.
Right.
But he always tells Luke, stay away from him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him. And then we're like going, well, why doesn't he like him?
I mean, you could also go the route of okay, Darth Vader. I haven't felt the presence of my master. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know the exact line. I don't remember anymore. But when in New Hope, when Darth Vader says, this is a force I haven't,
a presence I haven't felt
in a sense, a very long time. We don't know when that sense was, So for all we know, yes, okay, let's say, do we know? Is that last battle of them together the last time have they stated that in anything that's canon?
Yeah,
that's the last time. We don't know.
We don't know.
What if they fought after that? What if Darth Vader refused to believe Obi-Wan? He knew Obi-Wan wasn't dead. He never got him.
Yeah.
He just assumed he died as an old man or whatever in New Hope. So we don't even know if he battled him anymore. Which we could even see that in the prequels, him versus Darth Vader again.
Yeah, and basically it could explain why Obi-Wan is not as powerful as he is.
Yeah.
When we see him in episode 4.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things they can do with it. That would be one of my favorite spinoff ideas, honestly.
Yeah.
Because Obi-Wan's such a good character.
It's so much a better idea to cover Obi-Wan than it is. I know, like, originally when they were talking about spinoffs, they were talking, like, Boba Fett, Han Solo, focusing on the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Han and Chewie and Lando. I'm more interested in the Obi-Wan because that's more tied to the story.
Yeah.
We don't need to know Han's background, technically.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to know where he came from. The fact of the matter is, Han is who he is.
And quite frankly, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care about Han Solo's background. Like, I want to see Han Solo now.
It doesn't help the story.
It
the
doesn't.
Overall story, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
That thing's operational.
All right. So, update number 2. John Williams is to begin orchestrating Star Wars Episode 7 score in under 2 weeks. Okay, according to StarWars7News.com, the genius behind the music of the first 6 Star Wars movies has been attached to Star Wars Episode 7 since the beginning. But his involvement with the project has hardly been discussed since the filming began. However, as shooting continues to close on the newest installment of the series, word has it that John Williams will begin recording the soundtrack to the film.
I'm kind of surprised that we're only knowing he's only starting now.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it have taken him? Shouldn't he have started a while ago?
He still has a couple years. I mean, at the most, let's say they want to have picture wrapped within a year. Let's say.
Okay.
Let's say they want to have picture wrapped within a year. They want to start just doing it for test audiences within their closed family. I'm sure they're going to have screenings with the crew, cast, directors, producers. I'm pretty sure with Disney and Lucasfilm, there's a lot of hands in the pot. There's probably going to be a lot of people wanting to watch the final version or quote unquote the supposed final version, and there may be some changes. So I would assume maybe within a year. He has about a year, maybe a little over, to do the entire score.
And I mean, we've talked about this in the last time we were the last show that we were on about like the importance of the score for Star Wars. I'm really hoping he could come up with something that really does stick out. Like, I mean,
yeah,
just like what you said, the last thing he made was Duel of Fates.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that really stuck out.
I can remember. Yeah,
and that was in Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
and
no, he did Revenge of the Sith stuff.
Oh, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith. He did. Is Duel of Fates in Revenge of the Sith?
No, Duel of Fates was in
the
Phantom Menace.
Revenge of the Sith had the other one, the Mustafar song.
Yeah, the Mustafar song.
Yeah,
and I'm like going, man, he's only starting on it now.
Yeah,
kind of odd.
Yeah, it is. Well, he told. Remember when Marconi didn't want to work under a year over when Tarantino was trying to hire him to do the Django Unchained soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
Marconi said, a year I can't work under these restraints, and Marconi's a very similar type of composer as John Williams. They're very heavily involved in actual orchestra.
So you think that basically they're just letting John do what he wants?
Yeah, maybe he doesn't even need to have it done in a year. Maybe they'll have a temp score in there, which is what a lot of filmmakers do anyways, and producers, and then they'll throw in his music when he's fully,
that makes
finished.
Sense.
Yeah, so I'm glad. I'm very happy that he's coming back. I mean, I think that's a given. You need to have him back, and it's going to be a sad day, on Earth. So stupid when he dies.
Yeah, that is true.
Because
he's one of the greatest composers. He's the last great composer.
Yeah. Now it brings up another question, though, David, which we've discussed before: is John Williams going to be scoring other Star Wars films, the spinoffs?
You would like to think so. I really would.
But does he have the time? That's the thing. That's the biggest thing.
That's the thing. It's kind of like, okay, he's only starting on this now. And we're assuming he can come out with something in 2 years.
Yeah.
That means that he has to be working on the next one probably by next year.
Well, let's look, for example, let's take Disney to an example here, as an example, with what they've done with their franchises, which is vastly different from Star Wars, in my opinion, and how you should proceed with scoring or with the sound design. To me, John Williams goes hand in hand, but do you think as spinoffs start coming out and start rolling out, let's say by the 5th or 6th spinoff, do you think we're going to be okay and maybe ready for the transition of having a completely different type of score for certain spinoffs?
It worked for Clone Wars. Because Clone Wars
had still the orchestra feel. They still had the John Williams feel. I'm talking going something totally different. Much like, let me give you an example. A big transition from soundtrack would be going from all the Avengers movies we've had so far, and I'm including the Avengers, Iron Man movies, Captain America movies, and then you look at something, say, like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And the soundtrack was completely different.
Yeah.
It was more fun. It was more upbeat. It wasn't as epic. Do you see them doing something like that down the road? Not using actual music like Guardians of the Galaxy, like when I mean actual like songs that we grew up with,
but having a different
changing,
tone.
Yes, in a completely different tone. Do you see them doing that?
I think I do see them doing that, but I'd also think that that's actually a huge mistake.
I agree.
Because the fact of the matter is you can't copy, there's certain tones that you cannot copy all the time. Star Wars is one of them.
The Star Wars universe needs to remain the Star Wars universe feel.
Yeah, but once they actually deviate from that, I don't know. It doesn't quite jive well.
Yeah, I think the spinoffs will do okay if John Williams doesn't score them, which the likeliness of him not scoring them is probably pretty high. Like, he just doesn't have time to do all that.
Yeah, I don't think he can. I don't think he can.
As long as they take cues from John Williams, like they use him as a source of inspiration so that we can maintain a feel of the Star Wars universe, I think I'll be okay with that with the spinoffs. Obviously, with the Skywalker installments, we need to have John Williams.
You need John Williams.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you picture, say, like, if we went from John Williams to, say, someone like Hans Zimmer?
Yeah.
That would be so jarring.
Yeah. Well, everything he does sounds. I like Hans Zimmer, but everything he does sounds very similar.
Yeah.
To me, like, everything sounds like Batman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That thing's operational.
All right, next update number 3. Now, this is the big news. Moving on to Star Wars Rebels news, which is quickly becoming very popular. Surprisingly, I thought people were going to be hating on it. James Earl Jones, drumroll please. James Earl Jones to voice Darth Vader in Star Wars Rebels premiere on ABC. So not only are we going to be getting a premiere on ABC, which is pretty cool, dude, because right now not everybody in America has Disney Channel. Not everybody in America has Disney XD.
True.
99% of the U.S. has ABC.
And did you notice like the time that they actually put it? It's on a Sunday.
Yep. Prime time, man. Prime time Sunday.
For an animation.
Well, get this, man. Disney XD probably had its biggest premiere of all time. 6.5 million people tuned in to Star Wars Rebels on Friday last week when it premiered.
Yes.
Okay? 6.5 million people, dude. Now, that was just, the numbers that I read were just the premiere for that day. That's not including the people who downloaded it free on iTunes. It's not including the people who've seen early screenings. It's not including DVR ratings. It's not including the encores either from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, what they've been doing all week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're upwards. They've got to be upwards of 12 million by now.
By now? I am positive I'll take the over on that, dude.
So now you have them premiering on ABC, which is arguably one of the biggest networks on television today, major networks. So they will be premiering Star Wars Rebels, Spark of the Rebellion will air on ABC Sunday, October 26th at 7 p.m. Executive producers Dave Filoni, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Filoni.
Filoni states, we wanted to do something special for the ABC broadcast. We've added a scene, which is just awesome. We've added a scene which gives audiences insight into the Inquisitor. I love it because that was my only complaint. I wanted to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah,
and includes a cameo by Darth Vader, voiced by James Earl Jones.
Now, that one, I'm not sure, dude.
I know.
We said it in the past review. Don't bring him in yet.
Don't bring him in yet, but I think for this particular premiere, I think it's smart. It's ABC. You're thinking mainstream now. You're not just thinking that the fanboys probably are the only ones that really listen. The hardcore fans of Star Wars are probably the only ones that really tuned into Disney XD.
Yes.
You're not going to have my mother or my father be like, oh, Star Wars Rebels is coming out. I think I'm going to have to program my DVR for Disney XD. You're not going to see that. But you see people on ABC who are just watching TV on Sunday nights doing the old school channel surfing, which still does happen in this day and age.
True. And
you're going to see them going through. I'm like, oh, what's this?
But you know what, dude? I don't know. I mean, I mentioned this to you off air and everything, and I'm going to mention it here. When I see something like this gimmick, we're going to have Darth Vader in the
This is George Lucas, dude. This is a George Lucas maneuver.
This is an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. maneuver. Okay?
I don't know.
Where we get like, oh, look, it's the famous character in the very end of the show. Tune in.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Well, what does it serve? This doesn't serve anything except for the fact that, as you said, general audience will dig it,
and I think that's why they're doing it. They're doing it to grasp that other audience who might be on the fence.
Right. And
well,
basically just watch the Star Wars for Darth Vader.
Guess what my brother told me? He did not listen to our review yet, and he sent me a text and it's all, hey dude, I just watched Star Wars Rebels. I'm like, oh yeah, like cool dude, what'd you think? He's all like, exactly what we said. He's all, I don't know, man. I liked it a lot, actually. He says, but the weird thing is I almost didn't watch it. I'm like, really? Like, why not? He's all, because the previews made it look really cheesy and childish.
Yes.
And he says, and it wasn't.
And it wasn't.
And he says, yes, it was. And he said the same thing. It's a cartoon, but it wasn't what the previews made. And what the previews made it out to be. And that's exactly what you and I said. I said, I think they almost hurt themselves in marketing this because all their previews were very cheesy and childish. And made it look very immature, and yet what you get is a pretty solid show. But now Darth Vader, I don't know how often he's going to appear. The articles here talking about James Earl Jones. This may be his only appearance in the series. Although doing my nerd research, I Googled Star Wars Rebels toys recently.
Yeah,
and in the collection of Star Wars Rebels toys is Darth Vader. So I'm wondering if they do plan to keep him in it and have him pop in. And again, I'm okay with that because I just did a review that I posted on RainManWasHere.com. I just posted a review pertaining to the episode 1, not Spark of the Rebellion, which is what they're calling is the movie.
Yes.
And then episode 1, which is called Droids in Distress, I did post. If you hold on, let me bring it up. Okay, Star Wars review. It's posted. If you guys want to check it out, it's RaymanWasHere.com/Star Wars Rebels review /Droids in Distress. And I wrote that after a brief discussion between with Droids in Distress, we continue to get some fantastic Star Wars. In Act 1, we are immediately thrown in the midst of a chase. The Empire is in the hot pursuit of our heroes, and we see the Ghost fly and dodge blaster fire from the TIE fighters and a Star Destroyer. After a brief discussion between the Rebels crew, they find themselves smack in the middle of an illegal weapons operation that leads to a standoff that involves a set of familiar droids. Surprise, surprise! You guessed it, C-3PO and R2-D2 are apparently on a mission of their own. Now, next paragraph I wrote, despite satisfying my itch for nostalgia, I personally was not thrilled to see the duo so soon. One thing that I actually enjoyed about Spark of the Rebellion was the complete new set of characters. The ability to tell a unique, fresh story without having to rely on the Skywalker storyline is what made Rebels very appealing. Throwing the droids in so soon seemed forced and contrived.
Yeah.
And it was unneeded.
It didn't help the story any.
It didn't help the story. And that is the only thing that I'm afraid of if they put Darth Vader in Star Wars Rebels. Is agreeing with you, and I agree and disagree. I would like to see him, but if they do it, it needs to be very special, and it has to help and aid in the story. It can't just be like, ta-da! Put your hands together, kids, and fans alike. Darth Vader is here. Like, if they do it like that, it's insulting and contrived. And if they do it to actually help tell the story, and it's vital, then okay, I'm okay with it.
And that's what I mean, is like, look what they did for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They did it for Nick Fury. They made a big deal about it.
Yeah.
And it was
he did
just
nothing.
Like, he did nothing.
Nothing.
And I'm like going, I'm expecting something like this. Now, I think that the show could carry I don't think something like that won't hurt the show.
Yeah.
Because the show's did much better from the gate than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
But I think it might take away something from it.
It might take away from their own unique appeal, and that's again one thing I absolutely love about Star Wars Rebels now, man. Now watching episode 1 as well as the movie version, I'm really digging it, man, and I'm surprised. I am. My girlfriend looked at me and she's all like, "I can't believe you." She's all, "I love it," and she hates cartoons just as much as I do. I don't like cartoons. And she's all, "I can't believe you like it, though." I'm like, "It's a cartoon. You don't like cartoons. You could barely sit through Clone Wars." And I did like Clone Wars, but I only watched it because of Star Wars. I'm not a cartoon guy. And the fact that I can sit through this and I'm looking forward to it says a lot about the writing.
Yeah.
The fact that they can tell a story in 23 minutes, a beginning, a middle, and end, and it's an action, and there's development on one of your characters, Zeb.
Yeah.
You learn about him. It's fantastic. I think as long as they continue with what they're doing, I think Rebels is going to stand the test of time in Star Wars history.
I do. I agree too, because like the difference between this, as we stated in the review of when we did the review of Spark of the Rebellion, the difference between this and Clone Wars, this has a nice flow to it. This actually goes back to the basics. Yeah. You have a beginning, just like what you said. You have a beginning, middle, and an end, and that's the whole point about telling a story. It's not about being flashy. It's not about being, oh, this guy over here, this guy over here. It's not about adding plot holes everywhere.
Right.
Now, by doing the Darth Vader thing, that's what I mean, is kind of like, okay, are you just trying to insert Darth Vader to make another plot hole?
Right.
And that would hurt a story.
Yep, I agree. So hopefully on, what day is it? What was the day again?
Sunday the 26th. October 26th.
Yeah, hopefully on Sunday, October 26th, we'll all find out that Darth Vader wasn't just in it to sell, I guess, movie tickets, I guess you can say, get ratings, but to actually aid in the story, which they could very easily use Vader to help aid the story. It's very simple. Even as a cameo, like something that's vital and crucial. I mean, simply showing the relationship between him and the Inquisitor, which would probably let us know if some of the rumors we heard about Episode 7
are true,
which is the Inquisitor's answer to Vader from the very beginning, that we just haven't seen it. It's been very secretive. It's a secret order. Okay? If they do it that way, it not only will it give us a little bit of backstory on the Inquisitors, it'll actually help us feel more comfortable with some of these rumors we've been hearing about Episode 7.
Yeah, and I hope that's the case, and everything points to that because just as you said, the writers on this have been on point on everything. They've done. I don't know who the writer is for Star Wars Rebels, but the writers.
It's the same
show,
team. The same team as Clone Wars.
I don't know what they did then because they must have changed up something because they're not forcing anything.
Well, I think it's I think they're trying to go back to, as we said in our review of Star Wars Rebels, is that I think they're just trying to bring it back to the basics. I think that was the plan of action since Disney taking over Lucasfilm. I think that's the general consensus is let's bring it back to the basics. Let's bring it back to what Star Wars originally was about. And I think that's what the goal is. And I think Dave Filoni, whatever his name is, sorry if I get that wrong, but I think that's what he was doing Clone Wars, how he was told to do Clone Wars. And again, it was great. It was good for what it was. I didn't think Clone Wars was anything bad. In fact, it's garnered millions of fans across the world. But Star Wars Rebels, I think, is a superior package. And we won't know for sure in about 3 or 4 years. We'll find out. We'll actually really know. But we shall see. On that note, I think that is it for the Bacta update today, David.
All righty.
Thank you, and we will see you guys next week, either on a full show or yet another Bacta update.
Check out From the Bacta Take exclusively on Casder Radio. Go to FromTheBactaTake.com.